for the whole family. All the boys will be here, right, Keith? All the boys will be here, family. So if you want to come, won't be long. Somebody say amen. I promise you it won't be long, but we're going to have a good time. Let's go to the word. 1 Samuel 17. Let me give y'all this so we can get out of here. Today is the last day of the fast. And he's worthy. From the rising of the sun. I hate y'all so bad. Listen, I pray that those of you who joined us, this is what I said to 8:30 service. You would, Reverend Don would affirm this. Those of you who've never fasted before, you'd be amazed what God shows you if you fast. You'd be amazed. So for 21 days, we've been on a fast since January 5th. It's over today. Somebody say today. So today, whatever you have fasted from, you probably realized that you really didn't need it after all. I can't get 3 people to help me. You'll survive without Facebook. Somebody say amen. In Jesus' name. But I'm going to tell you all, we love doing that every year as one church moving in one direction to get everybody on the same page. Amen. So if you have not done it, I encourage you to do it, even for the Lenten season, Easter and Palm Sunday. Amen. Let's do this. 1 Samuel 17, verse number 38. Amen. So Saul clothed David with his armor, and he put a bronze helmet on his head. He also clothed him with a coat of mail. David fastened his sword to his armor, and he tried to walk. Somebody say, tried to walk. But he had not tested them. And David said to Saul, I can't walk with these, for I have not tested them. So David took them off. Then he took a staff in his hands. He chose for himself 5 smooth stones from the brook. He put them in a shepherd's bag, in a pouch which he had, and his sling was in his hand. Everybody look up here. So, I'm preaching. I use illustration every Sunday, month of January, amen. It is, Justin. Here's the sermon title. A rock, a rubber band, and a resolve. Look at your neighbor, say, that's all I need. Y'all got me? Everybody say a rock, a rubber band, and a resolve. You may be seated. Somebody say amen. A rock, a rubber band, and the resolve. Someone has penned that it is better to fail in originality than succeed in imitation. The person who penned this quote is without question lifting up the importance of being an original, true to yourself and what you bring to the table. Somebody say table. In this short quote, they are without question raising the idea that if you do anything of value in life, you should be an original. Say original. I need the house to shout original. You should value and appreciate how God made you different, packed with different gifts, different talents, personality, and whatever you do, you should be true to your original self. Somebody shout self. In fact, he says, even if you fail, at least fail as an original rather than succeed as an imitator. Somebody say yes. I believe they would say that to succeed as an imitator would be, in fact, cheapening God's product. Somebody say yes. God made each of us to be original. Somebody say, I'm an original. I need the house to shout, I'm an original. God made each of us to be different from one another. God made each of us to possess different qualities and traits that distinguish us from one another. God also gave us on a different journey with different tools and testimony. Somebody say testimony. Each of us have been given different tools and testimonies in life. Somebody say in life. What you have acquired is different than what others have acquired. That's why it's important for you and I to value our originality. Somebody say, I'm an original. You ought to value being distinctively different. An imitator hasn't risked anything. An imitator hasn't sacrificed anything. An imitator hasn't laid anything on the line. An imitator hasn't placed complete trust in God. But when you value your originality and how God made you different and has given you different tools and testimonies on your journey, you can testify like the writer, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Somebody say yes. Beloved, any believer who desires to impact the world that they live in must value your originality. Somebody say, I'm an original. Copying somebody else, chasing after what others have, devalues what God has given you and will give you in time. Somebody say, yes. You are a gift from God, specifically designed and made after his image. Everybody with me? Say yes. Given your own purpose, given your own plan, you are not a cheap carbon copy, an imitator, but you're an original masterpiece. Tell your neighbor, say, I'm a masterpiece. Come on, say masterpiece. You're a masterpiece who's been painted by the master painter, and that is God. Somebody say yes. So then, when you value being an original, distinctively different child of God, you don't compare yourself to nobody. Say nobody. Y'all gonna miss it in here. When you're an original, you don't compare yourself to nobody. You don't become jealous of what other people have. You don't covet what somebody else possesses, because you've reached the conclusion that there are some things that God custom tailored just for you. Somebody say yes. Y'all about to miss a sermon in here. Say yes. See, the testimony that you've been given, first, let me qualify this. Let me say this, y'all. Is there anybody in the house today that can affirm that you have a testimony? Throw your hands up. Somebody shout, I got a testimony. Now, I'm careful because everybody didn't raise their hand. That means you may need a definition of testimony. Well, let me give it to you. A testimony is a public confession of God's divine intervention in your life. Y'all gonna miss a good word in here. Watch this. If I go around the sanctuary and ask each person to give a testimony, everybody's testimony would be different. Somebody say yes. Because each one of us, in order for God to mature us and grow us to where he wants us to be, gave each of us a custom tailored testimony. But what do you mean by custom tailored testimony, Pastor Coleman? That means it was created for you. It was not a copycat. It wasn't an off-the-rack testimony. In order for God to groom you and grow you, he had to give you what nobody else could handle. If God gave you what somebody else had, they may have surrendered and given up their life. But he gave it to you because he knew you could handle it. Some of y'all in here sitting today, you've got a testimony. God has kept me. God has provided for me. God has made a way for me. God's taking care of my family. God took care of my children. God took care of my mind. Can I get 20 people to jump up and give them glory if you have a testimony? Slap a neighbor and say, I got one of them. Is there anybody here that can thank God that he made my testimony is different than your testimony? Watch this, watch this. And you got to where you are. Watch this, y'all. This gonna kill the house. You got to where you are, not by carrying somebody else's stuff. You got to where you are carrying the tools and testimony he gave you. Somebody say yes. I made it this juncture in my life, not by imitating, not by copying, not by mimicking somebody else, but rather by the custom-made tools and testimony given to me by God. Follow me. Nobody else has my story. Nobody else has taken my journey. Nobody else has my tale. Nobody else has taken me this far. Nobody else has walked in my shoes. Nobody else knows the nights I've had to cry. Nobody else has known the times I pulled my hair out. Nobody else knows the times that I lost sleep at night. Nobody else knows the pain that I had to go through just to get to where I am. Can I get 50 people in here that's your test? Somebody shout yes. Come on, shout yes. Watch this, watch this. Watch this. What I'm getting ready to say, y'all better catch it. It is a wasted life if you discard the things that have carried you to where you are right now. Somebody shall preach, man. If you waste the things that have carried you to where you are right now, it is a wasted life. There comes a time where you got to use what God gave you to get to the place he wants you to be. There are still some battles you got to fight. There's still some adversaries you got to take down. There's still some mountains you got to climb. There's still some difficulties you got to go through. And what you cannot do is forget the things that it took to get you to where you are right now. I'm preaching harder than y'all shouting at me. We have a tendency to go through life, and the more we acquire stuff, we forget the stuff that got us to where we are. Well, I got news for you. You're not going to make it to the next season of your life until you pull on the stuff that got you to this season of your life. Can I find 50 people to give them glory right now? Somebody shout yes. Such is the lesson that we glean from the shepherd boy, anointed king. His name is David. Somebody shout David. By now, everybody should be familiar with David's story. Don't lose me. He was the son that was overlooked by his father, despised by his brothers, yet anointed to be king by Samuel. Somebody say yes. Can I do it? It ain't even a script. Don't allow other people to try to dictate what God is trying to get you to in your life. David's brothers despised him. His father overlooked him. But when God has something for your life, it is not in the hands of other people. It's in the hands of God. So I don't care if you don't like me, I'm still anointed. I don't care if you don't friend me on Facebook, I'm still anointed. I don't care if you invite me out to dinner, I'm still anointed. Can I find 50 people in here that could shout right now? Could tap somebody and say, I'm still anointed. Yeah. Well, y'all know the story. David goes down to the front line because his folk, the Israelites, are at war with the Philistines. King Saul, along with the troops, are hiding behind their fortress, afraid to fight the Philistines. The chief fighter, Goliath. Everybody say Goliath. Y'all know the story from Sunday school. Say amen, y'all. David, the shepherd boy, comes down to the front line, and he's carrying lunch for the soldiers. He sees and hears Goliath taunting the Israelite men. David starts wondering, why ain't nobody took this joker out yet? He out here spitting venom on my folk and God. Surely somebody gonna take this brother out. Nobody move. David says, all right, since y'all ain't gonna go, I'm gonna go. Now, before I even move on, you gotta appreciate one characteristic David possessed. Don't lose this sermon. One characteristic David possessed, and that was courage. Somebody say courage. Just touch your neighbor real quick, say, get some courage. Mind you, David is not the biggest, he's not the largest, but there's something in him that he found worth fighting for. Whew. I wish I had somebody this morning. Beloved, part of using what God has given you is recognizing that there are moments in your life when you just gonna have to show up to fight. Yeah, I didn't say about 20 things right there. You ever had that moment right before fear gripped you and you had to grab yourself and remind yourself of who you are and where you come from? Y'all ain't say nothing to me. Have you ever had that moment where just before fear gripped you, you had to shake your silly self? Wait a minute. I come from some folk that's been in a fight before. I come from a legacy of folk that's had to go through. Watch this. David knew he needed courage because the battle was bigger than him. Those who possess courage don't shrink the size of the mission. They are committed to a larger cause because they know the cause is bigger than them. Preach, Coleman. The Bible says God has not given you a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. Do it. Y'all hear me? If courage got you here, you're going to need courage to go to the next level in your life. If faith got you here, you're going to need faith to get to the next level of your life. If ignoring the negative opinions of others got you here, you're going to have to ignore some other folk in your life to get you where you're going. Look, courage says, I know that the fire is hot, but God gonna bring me out. Courage is, I know there are lions down there, but God is gonna bring me out. I know there are chariots behind me, but God is gonna bring me out. I know there's water in front of me, but God gonna bring me out. I know I've been broke before, but God gonna bring me out. I know I lost my job, but God gonna bring me out. I know I struggled every now and then, but God gonna bring me out. Can I find 50 people that know you got to show up sometimes? Slap your neighbor and say, show up. Say, show up. Because if you show up, God will show up. We cannot be the generation that lays down and we're decimated. The first sign of struggle comes. Here it is. When John Lewis and the other freedom fighters walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, they had to know the possibility of what was going to happen. But the courage in them says, regardless of what's going to happen, God is going to be right there with me. Beloved, I need some folk that have courage to thank God, because if you show up, God will show up. This is not laying down season. You need to tell the devil, I'm not laying down on my family. I'm not laying down on my children. I'm not laying down on my grandchildren. I'm not laying down on my community. I'm not laying down on my dreams. I'm not laying down on my vision. I got courage and I'm going to show up and fight. Is there anybody in here that can jump up and shout, show up? Show up for your community. Show up for, I said, can you jump up and shout, show up? Show up for your health. Show up for your purpose. Show up for, I said, can you jump up and shout, show up? Slap 3 people, say, show up, baby, show up. Watch this. David tells his brothers and King Saul, I'm going to fight. Somebody say, I'm going to fight. Look at me, y'all, say, I'm going to fight. They try to discourage him. Listen, they say, watch this, y'all, this good. David said, I'm going to fight. Darling, watch this. They say, you're not able to fight against him. You ain't nothing but a little young boy. Go on somewhere and sit down. You know how they talk, yeah, man. If you're going to use what it took to get you here, to take you further in life, come here, come here, come here. I'm about to liberate 75 of y'all right now. Ready? If you're going to advance in life, you better learn how to dismiss the naysayers in your life. I didn't say something. Y'all ain't say nothing to me. You don't want to be the common. You don't want your life to be the culmination of the negative and naysaying people in your life. Listen, think about how many people would be further in life if they simply dismiss negative naysayers in their life. Stop listening to folk that don't want you to do good at all. Watch the text. Now his brothers wouldn't go fight, but they also tried to discourage David from fighting. Watch this, watch this. Here it is. Y'all ready? Somebody say, I'm ready. Look at me. Hold on there. Say, I'm ready. Some folk will discourage you because they want you to remain on the same level they're on. Y'all help me in here. Y'all help me in here. Some folk will discourage you because they don't want you to be free and liberated. They a slave and they want you to remain a slave. Y'all ain't gonna help a black man preaching here? Well, listen, that ain't gonna get you far, because what you gotta realize, you better learn how to dismiss folk who are trying to discourage you from being what God made you. Listen, his brothers say, you too young, you can't do that. You too young, you can't. Folk may say you're too this, but I got news for some of y'all. When folk tell you you're too this, you need to say to yourself, but I'm just right for God. I might not be your flavor, but I'm God's flavor. You might not like my cuteness, but God likes my cuteness. You might not like my swagger, but God likes my swagger. Can I get 50 people in here that are all right with the way that God sees you? Give them glory. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Y'all gonna miss it. And God is not looking for perfect people in order to be used by him. Get over that ignorant church theology that makes you think you got to clean yourself up in order for God to use you. If God had to clean folk up, you'd rip out the 66 chapters, because God wouldn't have used none of them. Noah was a drunk. Abraham was too old. Isaac was a daydreamer. Jacob was a liar. Leah wasn't cute. Joseph was abused. Moses was a stutterer. Gideon was afraid. Samson was a womanizer. Rahab was a prostitute. Jeremiah was too young. David was an adulterer. Elijah was suicidal. Isaiah preached naked. Jonah ran from God. Naomi was a widow. Job went bankrupt. John the Baptist ate bugs. Everybody got something, but God can still use you. I wish I had some folk in here that could throw your hands up, because if God can use them, slap somebody and say, God can use me. Yay! Somebody shout, God can use me. Don't let other people determine your value. Somebody say, preach, Coleman. Watch this. I'm going to help you. You don't let other people determine your value. Watch this. Because they don't even know you. Slap somebody and say, you don't even know me. If you knew me, you change the pew right now. But God can take the worst of us and bring out the best of us. Can I get 50 people to throw up your hands and shout, I know that's right? Yeah. So here it is. Somebody say, get you some courage. Say, get you some courage. Watch this. Somebody say, dismiss the naysayers. Hold on, Derek. They got to get it. Say, dismiss the naysayers. Watch this. Here it is. Get you some courage. Watch this. Dismiss the naysayers. But here it is. This going to kill. This going to kill. Watch this. Take this home. Learn to value your own story. They dismiss him. Y'all forgive me. So let me just say this to y'all. When folk talk crazy to you, you need to learn how to talk crazy right back to them. Now, listen. You can be holy and hood. I'm sorry, we can do both. But what you not gonna do? But what you not gonna do? You're not gonna come in my face with a bunch of negative naysaying stuff when I'm working on something for the kingdom. I'm hood and holy. If you say something to me, I'm going to say something right back to you. Just like God working on you, God is working on me. Slap your neighbor, say, that man preaching now. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Because what we have a tendency to do as believers, and Dr. Coleman, I deal with this all the time. We have a tendency as believers think we got to be quiet when people get crazy. Now, you got this twisted, player. When you give your life to something, I'm willing to tell you, no, I'm working for the Lord. So you need to take your negative, nasty, naysaying self and get out of my, y'all ain't helping me preach here. I done lost the church. Here it is. That David does it in the text. I'm going to prove it to you. The minute that they dismiss him, he dismisses them right back. He said, oh, y'all ain't heard about me? I was taking care of sheep, and a lion came up and snatched the sheep. I chased the lion down. I killed it and brought the sheep back. Well, the lion must have told the bear what time I sleep. Y'all ain't gonna help a black man preaching here. Because the bear came back. And when the bear came back, it snatched a sheep. And I chased him down. And I took his beard. And I snatched him down. And I killed him too. You heard about me? David is saying the reason I got confidence is because I own my own story. I own the rights to this. Are y'all listening to me? I got a story that you don't have. Had my back against the wall, but I'm still here. Been between a rock and a hard place, but I'm still here. Had some lean days. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I'm still here. Had some lonely nights before, but I'm still here. Heard some things go bump in the night that scared me, but I'm still here. Had some times when the ATM card wasn't going to do me no good because I didn't have no money, but I can't get 3 folk at Fish Street, but I'm still here. Had some friends lie on me, but I'm still here. Been in the hospital sick, but I'm still here. Almost lost my mind, but I'm still here. Me and the old lady almost broke up, but I'm still here. Can I get 50 people to jump up right now and shout, in spite of what I've been through, I'm still here. I got a story. You don't know, Oregon boy. Here it is. Your story of how you made it is your weapon to use in your next fight. Don't ever forget where you came from and what it took to get you here. If you had to cry and walk the floor at night, you're going to have to do that one more time to get through what you're going through. That's why some of us really don't care what other people think of us, because you don't have the story that I have in order to get to where I am. Can I get 50 people to praise him because you got a story? Wait a minute. Darlene, somebody got a lion story. Somebody got a bear story. Somebody got a snake story. Somebody got a leopard story. Somebody got a zoo story. You had to fight every animal up in the zoo just to slap somebody and say, that man preaching now. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my, but I'm still here. I'm still in my right mind. Somebody lift up your hands and give them. Slap your neighbor, say, I know that's right. David say, I ain't new to the scene. I've been in a jam before. I had some rough times before. I got some fight stories before. I got some overcoming stories. I got some surviving stories. Can I bless you in here? Somebody say, bless me. Your story, at the end of the day, if you appreciate it, you will value it more than you value your deliverance from what you're going through. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Everybody in here has a story. And what you cannot do is allow negative people affect the story that you've been given. Somebody say yes. Well, after his brother set his brother straight, King Saul comes up to him and begins to try and equip him for the fight against Goliath. Watch the scene, y'all. The king summons David over to him, takes off his bronze helmet for battles. He places it on David. He takes off his military tunic. He places it on David. He fastens his sword to his side and then steps back and he looks at David. And he believes David is ready to fight. David takes one step in the military regalia and he stumbles. David takes another step and he stumbles. Somebody say stumbles. Boy, this gonna run right here. Eventually, David looks at King Saul and he said, hey, bruh, I can't do this with these. These ain't been tested. And he takes the clothes off. Somebody say, take them clothes off. To the common eye, it would seem like this scene was just a case of clothes not fitting, but it's more than that. See, King Saul's weapons represented trust in himself. He believed that all of the military regalia would aid David in fighting the adversary. It wasn't about trusting God, it was about trusting himself. In his mind, David needed what everybody else needed in order to make, y'all just missed a shout right there. He thought that David needed what everybody else needed in order to get through what he was going through. More importantly, Saul wanted David to use his armor, so just in case David won, it would make Saul look good because it was his armor. Y'all gonna miss that. After all, if he won with his armor, it would make Saul look good. But David puts the armor on. He tries to walk in it. He cannot. And his response is hitched to the text. He said, I have not tested these. In other words, these things, the helmet, the tunic, the sword, didn't get me here. Preach, Coleman. The helmet, the tunic, and the sword didn't get me here. Y'all gonna miss it. I'm done. The helmet, the tunic, and the sword didn't get me here. Preach, Coleman. The helmet, the tunic, and the sword didn't get me here. It might look good on you, but it's not fit for me because it was not what I needed to get me where I am. David wouldn't wear the armor in battle because he himself had not tested them. It was a foreign to his experience. God had never needed the assistance of a sword from somebody else. Saul's armor represented a lack of faith. Watch the lesson. Never allow somebody else's lack of faith dictate your decisions in your life. Somebody give them praise right there. Hey. There's a difference between good advice and godly advice. Stop getting good advice and get some godly advice. Get some folk around you that know the Lord. Can I do it? Somebody say, do it. Shout, do it. And just because they go to church does not mean that they know God. Somebody say, preach, Coleman. That is not a qualification. But do you talk to him? Do you pray to him? Do you communicate with him? That's the kind of advice I'm looking for. Somebody say yes. We serve a God who's able to accomplish what concerns us in every aspect. Saul's armor can take many forms and can be forced upon us by people who mean well. They have always relied on their armor. Somebody say yes. Education, experience, training, natural talents, degrees, cultural study, money, contacts, organization. All that stuff is good. Somebody say that's good. Y'all fading. Say that's good. Education, training, natural talents, cultural study, money, that's good because they have attributed that to success. But let me bring it close to your front door. Saul's armor didn't get David there. Saul's armor didn't get you here. Saul's armor has not given you strength to make it. Saul's armor didn't carry you through heartbreak, disappointment, situations, circumstances. It was not education. It was not natural talent. It was not all those things outside of you. That stuff is good. I got some of that stuff. Somebody say yes. But don't get this thing twisted. It's some stuff education can't handle. It's some stuff your connection can't handle. It's some stuff your hookup ain't gonna handle. You don't need Saul's armor. Help me preaching in here, Darlene. You need a rock, a rubber band, and the resolve. What you mean, Pastor Coleman? Well, watch this, y'all. The rock, the rubber band are the simplistic tools that God gave you just to make it to where you are right now. You ain't got to make religion and theology and relationship deep. It's as simple as a rock, a rubber band, and the resolve. There it is. David said, those things didn't get me here. But let me tell you what got me here. It's because I had a rock, I had a rubber band, and I had a resolve. Beloved, you got to use what God gave you in order to get where you want to go. David said, I got here trusting God. I got here depending on God. I got here believing in God. I got here knowing God is able. I got here having confidence in God. Now watch this shout. This going to make the house go crazy. I didn't come from trust fund. I didn't come from a rich mama and daddy. Y'all going to make me go there? My daddy ain't give me $1 million to start my business from. I don't come from generational wealth. I didn't have the right last name. We didn't have no downtown connections. We didn't have the finest house, the finest clothes. We didn't have famous ancestors. But as for me and my folk, we had rocks, rubber band, and a resolve. We took a little bit of nothing, and we were able to get to where we are right now. We didn't have all of the stuff other people had. You had Jiffy. We had commodities. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about in here. Woo! You had peanut butter sandwich. We had jelly sandwiches. Woo! You had a shower. Some of us remember just the tub. You had steak. We had living onions and potted meat. Help me, somebody. Some of y'all forgot where you came from. And I'm preaching to a new generation in here. But I want to help the new generation understand that what you see today is not what got us to where we are. We took a little bit of nothing. We took a rock and a rubber band, and we fed our families. We prayed for our families. We went to college. We didn't have no scholarship. Folk got together and put us in college. Is there anybody in here that come from some simple folk that use simple stuff in order to make us get to where? Yeah, y'all missed it. It's the simple stuff. I got some folk here that know what sardines taste like. I got some folk in here that can make a ramen noodle turn into a 5-course meal. Can I get some folk to jump up on the ramen noodle ministry? I know some folk in here remember cornmeal and buttermilk. Back in the day, that's what you ate. We didn't eat oatmeal. We ate farina and grits. That's all we ate. We come from simple stuff, and it's that simple stuff. We didn't have rich people and famous people. We had mothers with 3rd-grade educations that would lay their hands on us and pray for us to make it. Can I get 50 people in here that could jump up right now? Because it's the simple stuff that's going to help you make it. It's the simple stuff that's going to help you succeed. Slap somebody and say, use the simple stuff. Watch this. If you use the simple stuff, there's no battle you can't win. No adversary you can't defeat. No enemy you can't overcome. No situation you can't come through. No trial you can't survive. No obstacle you can't get over. No difficulty you won't get through. Don't look for the deep stuff. Look for the simple stuff. It's the simple stuff that'll help you get through. Stop trying to lose sleep at night and just pray about it. Because prayer does still change things. Can I get 50 folk in here? Slap somebody and say, use the simple stuff. David reaches in his pocket, grabs his rubber band, walks over to the brook, grabs him a rock, starts approaching Goliath. Let me bless you in David's mind. I don't need what everybody else has. I just need what God gave me to get to where I am. Well, y'all know the end of the story. He takes one rock and he kills Goliath. Go and do it, Coleman. He takes one rock and he kills Goliath. Now watch this, y'all. Here is the profundity of the text. You don't need all of what everybody else has. You just use what God gave you. If you use what God gave you, you'll see your business expand. You'll see your dreams come to pass. You'll see your victory won. Can I get 50 people in here that can testify? It's the simple stuff that'll help you get to your next level. I need 50 folks to jump up and say, it's the simple stuff. Listen. Al Sharpton told his story, and y'all, Al Sharpton told his story, and I promise y'all, I was watching it, and I shouted myself. Al Sharpton said he was going to do a protest. He said he was doing a protest at Bensonhurst over a young African-American male that was killed. He said he was doing a protest, and a man steps out the crowd, and he stabs Al Sharpton in his heart, right in his chest. He said when he was little, he went back to the story, when he was little, some of his friends said, I want to go to church with you. He said he was embarrassed to go to church because in the middle of service, he said in the middle of service, his mother would get happy. He said, and when mother would get happy, she leaned to the side, and she started jumping. He said, and I was embarrassed. He said, I didn't want to bring my friends to church because I didn't want to see my mama jumping, shouting, leaning to the side. He said, but I took him to church. He said, and sure enough, service got hot. He got so hot, mama just got taken over by the Spirit. She moved out the pew, and she started shouting. He said, I'm looking up with my head in my hand. I'm embarrassed. He said, because here I am looking at my mother. My friends are there because my mother is shouting. She doing all this falling out. He said, but when I got stabbed. Yeah. He said, I was in the hospital. He said, and the doctors came in. And he said, Doc, tell me the truth. Am I going to be all right? He said, well, when you first came in, he said, we did an x-ray. He said, it was close. He said, it looked like you wasn't going to make it. He said, but between last night and tonight, we looked again at the x-ray. He said, when we looked again at the x-ray, what we saw the day before, we don't see today. He said, and before he knew it, Darlene, he started sitting up. He put his feet over the side of the bed. The nurse tried to stop him. He said, no, you can't get up. He said, no, I got to get up. He said he scooched over the edge of the bed. He put his feet on the floor. And when he stood up, he leaned to the side like his mama. And he started shouting. He started shouting. Can I help some of y'all in here? If you just use what God gave you in order to get you here. Can I get some folk to jump up right now? Because some of us need to lean to the side. Because God been good to you. God made a way for you. And if God did it before, God can do it again. Slap somebody and say, I know that's right. It might be dark right now. It might be bad right now. But if you lean to the side and think of the goodness of Jesus and all he's done for you, your soul got to cry out, hallelujah. Can I get you to high five 3 people and tell them, won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he dry your tears? Won't he calm your fears? Somebody say, won't he do it? Won't he lift you? Won't he encourage you? Somebody wave your hand. Give God a shout. Slap somebody and say, won't he do it? I said, won't he do it? Won't he, won't he? Won't he, won't he? Won't he do it? He'll lift you. He'll encourage you. He'll push you. Let the redeemed of the Lord give God glory right now. Stand on your feet. Somebody say, he will do it. Say, he will do it. Now give him a praise if he'll do it. Give him a shout if he'll do it. Magnify him if he'll do it. Give him glory if he'll do it. Lift him up if he'll do it. High five somebody, say he'll do it, he'll do it. High five somebody, say he'll do it, he'll do it. He'll do it, he'll do it. Somebody shout, it's simple. Do it again, say it's simple. It's the simple stuff. Rock, rubber band, resolve. You don't need what everybody else got. Use what he gave you. I told the 8:30 service, my grandmother, Kamora Coleman, on my father's side, Indiana Lane on my mother's side. Both domestics. Never went to college, didn't finish elementary school. But the legacy that they gave me through my parents was a rock, a rubber band, and the resolve. Simple. I've been to college, thank God, Morehouse, thank God.